Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Mahmoud Charr has returned to the ring after a year out, and he's defeated Nikola Milacic by a third-round stoppage in what possibly is one of the more farcical endings of a fight recently. Another suspicious ending, and you can see here on screen, so this is from the third round, this is leading into the final stoppage, and you have Mahmoud Charr circling, and then as he's switching to southpaw, rips off a jab, not a whole lot on it, and Milacic down, and the referee administers the count but gets towards the end, and he's seen enough. That is it. So this clip was from EC Boxing's Instagram, where they've done a live stream, so I can actually use this. It's not copyrighted by the broadcasters, etc. But Charr, he gets the win here. He advances to, 33-4 for his record, and it's a tune-up win and really nothing more. And afterwards, he called out Joe Joyce. So we'll talk about that, but I'll just briefly note on the rest of the card, because there were other heavyweight fights. We're not going to go into them at all, except to say Ali Aaron Demirezhian, who was facing Kevin Johnson, decision win. I mean, that was money all day that was going to be the result. Then you had Mikhail Wallisch, who was actually meant to be in the main event until it was changed quite late on. They replaced him with Jean-Pierre Augustin, and then it was Augustin couldn't make it to Germany, so you ended up having Nikola Milacic stepping in. But Wallisch, he was facing Tony Thez, who was meant to be the original opponent for Victor Vikhurst, who had to pull out due to injury. And the other heavyweight fight on the card, Christian Hammer, he bangs out a journeyman, Drazen Jajanin, who's got a record of 22-35 now. So that was multiple knockdowns and then ended in the final round. So the card, pretty pedestrian overall. Not great fights, and the main event certainly wasn't much chop. Multiple knockdowns heading into that third round, and as we saw here with this clip, pretty soft ending. And certainly some people are going to say that this Milacic character, bloated record, brought in at short notice, that he was taking a dive and a pretty soft ending. And it does look pretty suspect, and we've had a few of those. It wasn't sort of on the level of Richard Lartey with fake knockouts and pretending to be unconscious, that sort of stuff, but still not a good look, and one of those rare stoppages off a jab. Anyway, Mahmoud Charr, he gets this tune-up. Well, what next? Because his career really has gone nowhere fast recently. Since he faced Alexander Ustinov back in 2017, he's just had the two fights, and in that time since 2017, he was demoted to champion in recess, and because he couldn't fight Brian a year ago in the start of 2021, the WBA stripped that champion in recess status. But ironically, it was actually announced in this fight, ahead of the main event, that he was still the WBA champion in recess, which he is not. But clearly they're still hanging on to that for dear life, because obviously Charr at the moment is pretty much a non-factor in the heavyweight division. And as it is, he really hasn't been up to much in recent years. He's parading around like he was a champion, like he was the bee's knees, and obviously he was searching for a payday, which he almost got against Trevor Bryan, $1.5 million for the first fight, which would have been in, 2020. That fight never happened. A year later, tried again, it never happened again, and then he was stripped. But after this fight, calls out Joe Joyce. He wants this fight. He actually called for this in the last week or two, saying he wanted the winner of Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce. That fight was never officially confirmed, and what we now have is Joe Joyce having a tune-up fight, or a fight in July. I would suspect if they're looking to have Joe Joyce face Joseph Parker or someone of note in September, then it's probably not going to be anyone good. And let's be realistic. Mahmoud Charr is going to want mega dollars to face Joe Joyce. But if this fight does happen, which I'm pretty sure it wouldn't, Mahmoud Charr will get banged out by Joe Joyce. Charr just really is not that good. He was never great in his so-called prime, and at this point, I just think he's food for anyone who's in the top 30, and I don't even have Mahmoud Charr in my top 30. I don't think he's any good. He was never any good, and I know he's got a few fanboys floating around, but I think Charr is food. Honestly, if he was in the water, the sharks would be circling and he would be taken out almost instantaneous. I think that Joe Joyce and Mahmoud Charr, if they ever fight, that is easy work for Joyce and probably bangs him out within a couple of rounds. Just don't think that he's any good. But reality is, will it get made? Don't think so, because he will want too much. He will want that sort of career-defining type money. And at this point, if Joyce is on an undercard for a Frank Warren show, you're not going to get the payday you want. Even if they had it as a main event, no one wants to sort of buy that as a pay-per-view, because Joyce is sort of he's almost nearing that level, but he needs the right dance partner, and Charr is not it. I mean, you can barely talk about the sort of secondary title status that Charr had, because that was a vacant secondary title, the WBA regular title, that was put on the line in the week of the fight against Ustinov, and he never defended that title, ended up losing it. He had a tune-up against Christopher Lovejoy a year ago. Now he comes back, has another tune-up, nowhere fast. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.